Hey, it's great to see you. Have you ever been on a long, fast ride and that wind is blowing you back into your seat? Hey, I'm tired of that. So I'm going to replace my fairing and windscreen and have a taller windscreen to make a smoother ride for me. And as always, let's ride. I'm going to be installing a Krator headlight fairing with windshield on my 2022 Harley-Davidson Sportster 883. I got the new package that came in. This is the Capsco Moto trademark. They have the Krator headlight fairing, and the model number for this specific one is JBM-6014-C, and that's a universal fairing that will fit Sportster bikes. I'll take you step by step on the installation process. It should be very easy. According to the packing list, you're supposed to have the fairing, the windshield, the fairing bracket, the adjustment brackets, the fork brackets, the clamps, 2 per fork, and then you have heat shrink tubing. The clamps will go on the inside of the heat shrink tubing to protect the fork finish. Then you have your flange hex nuts right here. You have your flat washers, your nylock nut, hexagon socket screw, split lock washer, flat washers, windshield screws, windshield washers, and the windshield nuts. This right here is the bracket to bring the headlight forward so it does not sit recessed into the fairing. Next, I'll be installing the fairing to the windshield, and I will be using Loctite for this because, you know, the vibration and everything. I want to show you a little trick I learned from watching Blockhead's channel, and he works on bikes. But you can use low-tack adhesive tape to hold down these screws on one end, so that way you can work on them from the other end. Shout out to Blockhead. I want to protect my windshield as much as possible, so I wrapped it in order to protect the majority of it. The rest I'm going to be working, trying to insert the screws into the hole. To tighten these down, all you need is a Phillips head screwdriver and a 5/16 ratchet. And I'm going to work the screwdriver instead of the ratchet itself. I can feel the tension and how far I can go with the screwdriver versus how much pressure I can put with the ratchet. The next step will be to install this headlight bracket to bring the headlight forward so it doesn't sit recessed on the fairing. The next thing I need to do is remove the cafe style fairing, and the way I do that is, if you look here, these are locks that come off and this is removable, and the actual clamps will stay in place. Now obviously I have to remove these clamps here in order to install the clamps that came with my new fairing. I need to bring the light out, so I'm going to have to use this bracket in order to do so. To install this bracket, I need to remove this plate right here. The bracket has been removed, and I need to remove that bolt in order to get the light out of there. I have a 3/4 inch socket, and that's what I'm going to be using to remove this bolt. Make sure you hold on to the light so it doesn't fall. And let the light hang for a second. Take this out. See, there's a washer in there that I need to make sure I get as well. So this washer has a bump. That bump has to go down like that so it can rest in that right there. So basically what I did was use the bracket provided by Krator. I had to buy a 1/2 inch bolt, 1/2 inch nut, and a washer for this side because they didn't provide another one for that. And then I used the old stock that came with the motorcycle and just push the light forward. So now it's just pushed a little forward, and we'll continue with the assembly. I'm installing the brackets on the forks. According to the instructions, you install these fork brackets first with the clamps. The brackets have been installed and they are sitting loose, and they can go up and down and so forth. These clamps, I had to take them off and invert them because the adjusting nut was on this side, and that would have been very difficult to get to adjust when the fairing is installed. Put them on the towards the back. This is towards the back of the motorcycle, so that way I can get to them and adjust them and tighten them up. Continuing with the brackets, I have this bracket right here. It's attached to the actual fairing with these hex bolts. I installed the fairing loosely on the motorcycle or on the brackets itself. As you notice, I have to take the windscreen off in order to access the screws down here, which the instructions suggested that you put the windscreen on first, but apparently that to me is a no-go. So I had to adjust, took the windscreen off and installed these. Now I'm going to tighten them down, and it's starting to look pretty good. And as you can see, all the bolts and brackets are in place. They have been tightened down. The clamps are in. The excess that comes out of that clamp, I put some shrink tubing on the ends so that way it won't cut anybody, especially me when I'm working on the bike or washing the bike. So you can see the fitting is excellent. I did use the headlight extension to push the headlight out. And here's the other side, and you can see the bracket with all the bolts and hardware installed. With these looking pretty good. Some of the things that I would do different based on the instructions is I would definitely put that windscreen last. The instructions that came with the Krator fairing and windscreen were very detailed. I don't have a problem with the written instructions. The difficulty that I had was reading the diagrams and photos that were not as clear. They were muted. It was difficult to tell the order of the brackets, how they were assembled. Another advice that I will have for anybody taking on this kind of job is mark up your fairing to your bike. That way you have an idea where the brackets will go and the order that they will go in according to the dimensions of your forks and the mounting bracket area of the fairing. And last but not least, be patient. You know, these things take time. Sometimes your instructions are not as clear as you think they're going to be. Do everything you can to educate yourself, read the instructions over and over before you start installing. That way you know the process, you know the sequence. It will come, and you can do this. This is a very easy installation. This installation could easily be done in 1 hour. If you got something out of this video, smash that like button. Also, don't forget to share with family and friends and like-minded riders that want to do some type of installation. If you haven't done so, go ahead and subscribe so that way you get to watch more videos like this as I publish them. Don't forget to watch this next video, and I'll see you there.